Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring the Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland Core Rulez. If you haven't seen the other parts of this review, please check out the playlist in the description below. In this part, we are going to take a look at the character classes. This role-playing game has some of the most unique, radical and fun character classes that I have seen. Today we are going to take a look at about half of the classes, and in the next part we are going to take a look at the other half. Let's start with the Brutacorn, half bicorn, half machine, all attitude. Do you remember that cartoon Brave Star? Do you remember 3030? That horseman sort of being that was armed with this huge weapon. It kind of looked like a science fantasy version of a Winchester rifle, and it was called Sarah Jane. So yeah, you had that sort of anthropomorphic horse, very powerful with metal legs and really ripped, very buff. So the Brutacorn is kind of like that, although with the Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland twist. Cast out by the bicorn gangs of the Wasteland Plains, the Brutacorns must earn a meager living through the only means they know, killing. The two bicorn gangs have been at war for hundreds of years, the battles brutal and bloody. Bicorns often came back maimed and missing arms or legs. Fortunately, the gods of the Forgotten Time left the wounded with arms and legs made out of metal, but unfortunately, the elder bicorns on both sides of the war see this as an abomination. The choice is simple for the amputated casualties of war: kill the lame or be fixed and live in exile for the rest of your days. The latter take up work wherever they can, as hired guns or adventurers themselves, trying to carve out a little fortune in the process. So you have these horsemen, very tough, perhaps even maniacal beings that remind you of a unicorn, but not so much because they have two horns and bionic parts or cybernetic implants, and they are very tough. They have a lot of hit points. Their base movement is also quite high, that is, they are quite fast when moving through the battlefield. When it comes to weapons and armor, Brutacorns, because of their magical nature, they cannot wear anything non-magical. If non-magical armor is worn, they suffer a penalty to their armor class. Non-magical rippers and bigger size objects cannot be wielded by a Brutacorn. Instead, they enjoy shotguns, mega blasters, and switchblades. Loud booms make the Brutacorn happy. You also have information on starting equipment, which includes a glorious main hairstyle. Now let's talk about the Rad Abilities of the Brutacorn. Having half a cyber body, limited magical powers, and an uncomfortable obsession with shotguns makes the Brutacorn a true menace for all wasteland muties and monsters. Many of your abilities are powered by mythical points. So for example, you have laser fast reload. The Brutacorn can spend mythical points to reload a shotgun as a bonus action. You also have the ability of doesn't skip leg day. Due to their ancestry and biological makeup, the Brutacorn packs some serious leg power, giving them the ability to kick down most any non-mega reinforced doors with great ease. Beware though, the great kick makes an awful lot of noise, and who or whatever is on the opposite side will hear you coming, and so will his buddies down the hall. You also have an innate magical ability. Distant ancestors of the mighty unicorns that once walked the face of Neoterrax many years ago, the Brutacorn can harness this forgotten power and cast some spells. The Brutacorn's ability to harness the winds of chaos is very minor. They prefer a sturdy shotgun over that magic mumbo-jumbo anyway. When a spell is cast and a 20 is rolled for the spell check or to hit, they don't use the to the max table. There are actually two rival gangs of Brutacorns in the Wastelands. You have the Punk Brewmeisters and the Danza's Destroyers. If you choose to be a Punk Brewmeister, you can use a magical attack. You have this magical discharge coming from your horns. But if you choose to be a member of Danza's Destroyers, you are actually very good at charging at your opponents. You deal a lot of damage using your horns. You have a list of Brutacorn spells such as Chad Attack, The Brutacorn tosses insults and gives a target he can see within the range the middle finger. This barrage of expletives and vulgar hand gestures enrages his target, and they take a penalty to their armor class until the start of the Brutacorn's next spell phase. You also have Locked on Target. Powered by magic, the Brutacorn's cybernetic eyes can lock onto a target, enhancing their ability to shoot it with their boomstick, gaining a bonus to hit. As you spend your mythical points, you will have to roll on a table. For example, if a Brutacorn's mythical points drop below 5, you need to roll on a chart. You need to roll 1d4 for 5 points, as I mentioned, but when you get to 4 points, you need to roll 1d6. If you get to 3 points, 1d10 until you reach 2d20. The higher you roll, the worse of the effects concerning this table. So for example, maybe you got lucky and you only rolled a 1 or a 2, and you obtain the result of Bummer. The cybernetics in your body hinder your magical ability, adding a +2 to your next spell check. Maybe you roll a 7 or an 8 and you get Bogus. Doesn't seem like these dudes are getting bummed out. The Chad attack has no effect until your next long rest. But what if you rolled an 18? You get the result of you are a disgrace to bicorns all across Neoterrax. Seems you lack discipline. Not only does the next spell deal blowback damage, you take double the amount dealt to the target. Now, when you reach 5th level, the Brutacorn is fully embraced by his ancient ancestors, and you can cast spells from any magic user's 1st level spell list. The mythical blood that flows through the Brutacorn's veins reaches its true potential, and allows the Brutacorn to cast as many spells as they have mythical points left, but only once per turn. Their tenacity on the battlefield has paid off. For now, they can dual wield all stubby shotguns. The same dual wielding rules apply to missile weapons as well. And also, at 5th level you become a munitions expert. The Brutacorn gains the ability to utilize a special shell for their shotty. You choose one of several types of munitions. Perhaps you choose napalm. Kill him with fire. You deal an additional 1d6 of fire damage, setting your enemy ablaze. Perhaps you choose electro. Rounds that electrify the target. It doesn't add any additional damage, but makes the target unconscious. Maybe you choose spread shot. It deals weapons damage in a cone rather than a straight line. Next we have the Cosmic Barbarian. Lord Randy be praised. Clathu, the only surviving member of an ancient Xeno race, crash-landed on Neoterrax over 100 years ago. He lived high in the mountains in the north alongside his disciples, a group of native humans who believed him to be a god. He taught them the savage ways of his planet and the benefits of consuming the cosmic dust that granted him supernatural strength, invulnerability, and many other superhuman capabilities. The descendants of Clathu persist today, eschewing the technological marvels of the world in favor of the primitive customs of their master, which grants them extraordinary abilities in combat. When it comes to hit points, you are quite sturdy, not as sturdy as the Brutacorn, but still sturdy enough. When it comes to movement, you are pretty decent, except when you are used, then your movement goes up. You even surpass the Brutacorn. When it comes to weapons and armor, the Cosmic Barbarians prefer to wade into battle wielding 2 single-handed weapons, but they can also use any simple weapon, including missile weapons. They can only wear non-magical and non-metallic armor. You have information on starting equipment, which includes a pair of sick shades. Now let's talk about the Rad Abilities of the Cosmic Barbarian. This class is a lethal machine of drug-fueled rage. You have dual wielding. Who needs formal training when you can make up for it with an extra weapon? The Cosmic Barbarian gains a bonus to his attack and damage rolls when dual wielding. You have Technophobia. The Cosmic Barbarians cannot use any type of alien or elaborate weapons, armor, or technology. You have Cosmic Dust. The source of the Barbarians' rage comes from cosmic dust, chunks of space rock that have been ground up and snorted to put the Cosmic Barbarian into a battle frenzy. Their frequent use of the drug to enhance their combat ability has hardened the Cosmic Barbarian to the drug's effects, Anyone other than the Cosmic Barbarian who snorts the dust must make a death saving throw. On a successful save roll on the drug effects table, the player character survives. On a failure, the player character's heart explodes in their chest. The Cosmic Dust is represented in-game as Cosmic Points. You have the ability of Use Doubt. By spending your Cosmic Points, that is snorting the Cosmic Dust, this puts the Cosmic Barbarian in a rage called Use Doubt. While high on Cosmic Dust, you add both damage rolls from dual wielding rather than taking the greater result. While frenzied, the Barbarian crits on a 19 or 20 and takes only half damage from non-magical sources. However, any magical damage dealt to a frenzied Cosmic Barbarian is doubled. The drug's effect lasts for 2 turns per use. You have the ability of You Son of a Bitch. If 2 Cosmic Barbarians high-five in battle, a thunderous blast erupts from the impact. The clap sends the enemies back 10 feet, with a 10% chance of shattering their eardrums, causing permanent deafness. And the Cosmic ability Cosmic represents the Barbarian's stash of Cosmic Dust. The Barbarian can be assumed to replenish their stash over downtime, and can grind up more of the space rock during a long rest. When they start to run out of the dust, the Cosmic Barbarian may experience withdrawal symptoms. You will have to roll on a table. Maybe you obtain the result of a serious batch of the jiggles. Your next roll is made with a -2 penalty. Maybe you obtain the result of Cosmic Drugs are bad. You roll on the minor mutation chart as you begin to show signs of your lifestyle. Maybe you get the result of Killer Batch. When rolling to hit, you roll 2d20 and add the result. You also deal double damage. Or maybe you obtain the result of Paranoid. Everyone is out to get you. You gain 1 paranoia condition. As you grow in power, as you reach the 5th level, your Cosmic Barbarian is so strong that you can actually dual wield 2-handed weapons as if they were only one-handed. And all of your other abilities also become enhanced as well, including your tolerance for snorting the Cosmic Dust. These are just some of the abilities. Then we have the Cyber Skin. You can't stop progress. Found hidden beneath the Forgotten World was thousands of tanks filled with green goo and man-machines. Their purpose has been lost in the sea of time, but they sprang to life and needed a purpose: to gather as much rich stuff from the ruined old world as possible and bring it to the surface. So we are talking about the Regan 2000 model. All the cyber skins on Earth so far look exactly the same, with the same model number and named Regan. Of course you get the reference. When it comes to hit points, a cyber skin doesn't have hit points. Damage done to a cyber skin gets taken out of its primary ability scores: burliness, brains, and agility. The cyber skin can determine which one the damage is dealt to. If a cyber skin has a 0 in any ability score, they blow up. If a cyber skin blows up, anyone in a 15-foot radius must make an agility saving throw or take 2d6 of damage. When it comes to base movement speed, you are decent. And when it comes to weapons and armor, programmed to be deadly with any weapon, the cyber skin can use all weapons and types. In addition, they are firearm masters and never fumble when using guns. You have information on starting equipment, which includes the politician hairstyle and a random trinket. Perhaps you start with a mixtape called My Summer Love, or a calculator referred to as Mother. Now let's talk about some of the rad abilities of the cyber skin. Not being human offers the cyber skin some benefits that their flesh bag allies can only dream of. You have healing. A cyber skin cannot heal through potions or magical means. They must take a full rest for their onboard nanomedics to repair the damage. A 2d6 pool of points is gathered, and the cyber skin picks which ability points to add them to. You have fearless. Not being a humanoid really has its perks. The creepy crawlies that make others cower in fear simply make you chuckle a bit. Cyber skins are immune to the fear condition. You also have the ability of I'll be back. A cyber skin can have their DCT, Digital Consciousness tape, installed into another cyber skin. When any of the Cyber Skin's ability scores drops to 0, you roll a d6 to see if the DCT is battle damaged. Maybe you obtain the result of wasted, the tape is destroyed, consciousness lost forever in the computer waves. Or maybe the tape is just damaged, you must reformat the tape. Or maybe you obtain the result of just like new, it still has that new tape smell. You also have the ability of zero out. When a character gets zeroed out, their consciousness resets as the copy is destroyed. Their attributes are reset and they are all re-rolled with no swap. When it comes to the class ability Ram, the good thing about these fearless robots from the past is that they were made for wasting muty scum in droves. The bad thing is that it takes Ram to do it. Every combat action the Cyber Skin does costs 1 Ram point. Attacking with a melee weapon, missile weapon, or using the additional combat actions. So stock up on additional RAM by finding data tapes and formatting them. Once a data tape is formatted, using any tape drive or deck, including the one installed on the Cyber Skin, the Cyber Skin gains an additional 1d6 plus brains mod of RAM points. And of course, you have a RAM points table, in case your RAM points drop a bit too low. Maybe you obtain the result of 404 error code. Bad RAM causes one of your abilities to take a -3 on the next time they are rolled. Maybe you get the result of too human. Something feels strange. Until your next long rest, you can be frightened, and in fact, you are at the check conditions phase each turn. You gain a paranoia condition. Any ally within 10 feet of you rolls on the fear chart against you. As the Cyber Skin goes up in levels of power, you will gain very unusual and strange things. Perhaps the most conventional ones are augmentations. You gain different things like, for example, tough skin, force shield, axe fist, spread shot, plasma rounds. So you're going to get a lot of advantages concerning the sturdiness of your body, the weapons that you can use in close combat or at range, but you also start to become a bit evil in the Terminator sense, let's put it like that. You start to hate everything organic, so you begin this protocol looking to destroy everything that is organic so that the machines can rule the world. You start to get bonuses when it comes to hitting and dealing damage and such. Next we have the Deathbringer. All men fear death, and I shall bring them to it. Songs are sung for the heroes and legends, telling tales of great courage and bravery. The laser bards enchanting power ballads praise the stalwart and true. However, the bard does not sing of the Deathbringer, for that name alone brings fear into his heart. When a man picks the path of the Deathbringer, there is no salvation, only a life of violence and misery. When it comes to hit points, you are incredibly sturdy. You even surpass the Brutacorn. Your movement speed is pretty good. When it comes to weapons and armor, a Deathbringer is highly trained in all of the arts of warfare and slaughter against man and beast alike. A Deathbringer chooses to see the life leave his foe's eyes up close and personal, and may wield any melee weapon without penalty. However, he may not use missile weapons, as Deathbringers consider them to be cowardly and more fitting for a pointy-eared woozy than a true warrior. You have information on starting equipment, which includes a favorite dagger with an engraved dragon on the blade for finishing off the wounded. So edgy. Now let's talk about some of the rad abilities of the Deathbringer. The Deathbringer's rad abilities give him an edge in battle that the party will desperately need. He gains a bonus on to hit and damage rolls. You have If It Bleeds. A Deathbringer always crits on a 19 or 20. You have It Is Too Dangerous to Go Alone. The Deathbringer chooses their starting mundane melee weapon. You have True Masters of the Quest. The Deathbringers can spend fortune points to avoid a total bomber on their attack rolls. You have The Thrill of the Kill. When a Deathbringer kills an opponent, either single-handedly or by delivering the final blow, they may bask in the slaughter and drink the lifeblood of their fallen enemy. This act regains the Deathbringer 1 hit point for every hit die of his fallen opponent. There's the ability of Meat Nado. When a Deathbringer knows that their foe is inferior, they can unleash a frenzy of attacks. They gain the ability to multi-attack on creatures of 1 hit dice or less and may attack until they miss. You have the class ability of Fury. Deathbringers live in the carnage of combat. Fury is used to alter any of their combat related rolls. Expending too much Fury before a long rest can result in combat fatigue, and you will have to make some rolls on the Fury points table. Maybe you obtain the result of an old war wound is acting up. Your next roll in combat takes a -2 penalty to hit. Maybe you obtain the result of War is Hell. A distant time and a distant battle take over your mind, giving you a -7 penalty on the next roll. Maybe you obtain the result of Fight or Flight. You freeze up and you go into shock. You need to roll a d4. Maybe you flee from the battle. Maybe you lay on the ground in a fetal position. Or maybe you become suicidal, taking a penalty to your armor class. If you manage to reach 5th level as a Deathbringer, you gain the Action Hero status, which gives you a +5 to your attitude. And then you will notice that toys are made in your likeness, they just start to pop up. Hacking away at your enemy's body parts has become second nature. And the Midnado ability becomes equal to 2 hit dice of monsters. Also, slaying muties turns out to be a great workout. The Deathbringer's muscles are bulging, and in getting a sick pump, they gain a bonus to their burliness ability score. And those are just some of the abilities of this death-dealing machine. Next we have the Dwarfling. Wind your neck in, son, or I'll knock your teeth down ya throat. Interstellar immigrants, the Dwarflings fled to Neoterrax after the final Lux War that destroyed their homeworld, Luxor 777. Fierce in battle and extremely lucky, they are the only class that can regain fortune points after a long rest. You are pretty decent when it comes to hit points, you are terrible at movement speed. When it comes to weapons and armor, the weapons of the Dwarflings' forebearers were plasma weapons, axes, and hammers. As such, they are skilled in their use. Dwarflings may use only metal armor, but may bear wooden shields. You have details on starting equipment, which actually includes a wood shield. Now let's talk about some of the rad abilities. Dwarflings can tap into their history as intergalactic immigrants, gaining the ability to use native weaponry and their ancestral trait of being lucky as hell. You have the ability of heavy metal. Keepers of the plasma and masters of the Starforge, the Dwarfling species perfected the plasma weapon, most notably the plasma flintlock pistol, the preferred missile weapon of the Dwarfling. You have Oi! I think me smells something. Dwarflings have keen senses, and this grants them the innate ability to find traps at a higher rate than other classes. You have Better lucky than good. The Dwarfling can spend a fortune point to avoid a fumble. There's also Nothing or Double. The Dwarfling can spend a fortune point in any barter or gambling situation to go double or nothing. When it comes to your class ability score of Fortune, a Dwarfling is unique in the fact that it has no class-based ability score, instead relying solely on Fortune. The Dwarfling regains lost fortune points the same way other classes regain class ability points, that is 1d6 points per long rest. In addition to spending fortune points the way they are intended, the Dwarfling can spend points to add to their disarm traps roll. And of course, if your fortune points drop too low, you'll have to roll on a table. Maybe you obtain the result of Nightmares of Luxor 777's destruction keep the Dwarfling up during long rests. They can only regain half their fortune points, rounded down. Maybe you obtain the result of Rubbed the Wrong Way. The Dwarfling's fortune rubs off on the next enemy to attack, granting them a +5 bonus to attack and damage, even if the attack targets a creature other than the Dwarfling. Maybe you get the result of the Dwarfling emits a negative magic field 10 feet in diameter until the end of a long rest. Or maybe you get the result of all rolls are fumbles until the end of a long rest. If, as a Dwarfling, you reach 5th level, the secrets of the plasma are revealed to you. Through countless hours of study, the Dwarfling finally understands their true nature in relation to plasma-powered weapons. This surge in knowledge grants the Dwarfling the ability to reload plasma weapons as a bonus action, and this goes well with the other ability of Me Dead Brob's Pride and Joy. At 5th level, possibly through nefarious ways, the Dwarfling acquires a plasma rifle, with bonus attitude or sleaze to a great story on how this weapon landed on your lap. And these are just some of the abilities of the Dwarflings. So as you can see, these classes are very interesting. The Brutacorn is quite sturdy, it has some magical potential. The Cosmic Barbarian is all about going into that drug-filled rage. During that state you are seemingly unstoppable. The Cyber Skin is a very interesting character class in my opinion, because you have all of those advantages related to augmentations, and you suffer no disadvantages that more organic beings suffer. But at the same time, you will turn into this killing machine that wants to eradicate all organic life, and you actually get a penalty when attacking other machines. The Deathbringer is a close quarters specialist. When compared to the Cosmic Barbarian, instead of attacking in bursts of greatness, you are more consistent, and the Dwarfling feels more like a utility-based character class, helping the group out in dangerous or hazardous environments, and by obtaining money because of their luck by gambling and perhaps even stealing. And this concludes the review for today. In the next part we are going to talk about the other character classes. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that have been supporting the channel by sending drive-thru RPG gift certificates. If anyone else wants to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you and see you later.